This is Pitchdeckasia, powered by Asia Tech Podcast. My name is Graham Brown, joined in the studio by Dhana Sekar Balakrishnan. Dhana, welcome.
Hi, Graham. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you. We're going to talk about ULA, wandering.
Yeah.
So now, maybe we can explain a little bit about the name first before we sort of dive into the company, because there's an interesting story there. So ULA, that is my best Tamil.
Yeah.
It means to wander, right? So help us understand. We're talking off air here. So what does it mean?
Okay. So ULA came out of the company name Ulavi Technologies.
Yeah.
So Ulavi, it's typically a Tamil literature word. It has a couple of meanings. Always the Tamil word has a couple of meanings. So Ulavi stands for browsing, and then the other words associated with that is wanderer or wandering.
Right.
So the short form of that, which is colloquially used today, is our ULA. So ULA means you are going around, moving around, seeing things, kind of a thing. So
Right.
it means you're moving from one place to another. That's what ULA is all about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that your startup is about moving around.
Yeah.
So maybe we can start there. How do you define your market first? What market are you operating in?
See, we are, as we all know, like ULA, the the product that we are doing is predominantly a ride-hailing app, but it is designed for B2B, and very particularly it is designed for travel and hospitality industry. So the market that we are now launching is Singapore, but the global is our market.
Right.
End of the day, if you are successful in Singapore, we already have plans for this year to move to the adjacent markets like Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, which are very hotspot tourism destinations.
Yeah.
So we'll be picking up on destinations or countries which are heavily used by the travelers, and the combination of vehicles that we offer is heavily loaded on the travel side,
Right.
which is used by the families and the groups and the mice and those kind of people.
Right.
So our market is Singapore first, and in a couple of quarters, we expect to move around in Southeast Asia. That's what we are looking into.
So you said B2B ride hailing. Explain to me what that is. So,
Okay.
I mean, we'll all understand Grab, Uber, etc., Gojek on our phones. That would be B2C ride hailing. What's the difference?
Okay. Let's take Grab, because I use Grab. I really got excited, and we started this ULA based on being a user of Grab. So Grab also happens to do corporates and B2B. But we are more specifically working on the B2B space, because the B2B space is talking about vehicle size 8-seaters and above. For the travelers, for a family of 5 or a 4 or 3, and also a group of 2 families joining together, and so on and so forth. So B2B, we are talking about very specifically the fragmented market on the higher side, which is of bigger size vehicles. And we are focusing predominantly on the bigger size vehicles and the limousines, and limousines also are MPVs. So like say the 8-seater luxury or the executive class vehicles. So we know Grab and Gojek, they are already there on the sedans and the SUVs. So we are looking more into MPVs and above, like MPVs, combis, coach, and limousines.
Right.
This is where the B2B space we want to be, and very specifically in the travel and hospitality industry.
Right. Can't I just book an 8-seater or a bus, a coach on Grab? They do have that facility, though.
Exactly. I think you are an extensive user of Grab. It looks like, even though you don't book a bus, I don't know, but you have seen the options, right?
Yeah, I have
That's
done.
good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
a long story, but
Yeah.
by mistake. But I was surprised when it turned up.
Yeah. So they do offer it. Now, what's happening is like they are in a very wider space, right?
Yeah.
They do offer coach. They do offer combis. We call that as a combis or the minibus. Now, their focus is more onto a B2C, which doesn't use these kind of vehicles on a regular basis. What we are looking into is more towards a very specific industry, which is travel and hospitality, and also the corporates. And very specifically saying that our offerings are around that MPV, combis, and coach. And we are not competing with them on the lower end, which is predominantly used by the B2C, like the sedans, the SUVs. I don't book a combi 8-seater to come to this show, right? So predominantly I will do a 4-seater or a share of a 4-seater or a SUV. Now, that is a space where we don't want to be, and we want to be more into the high-end space, limousines and other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Is the actual booking different? Is it just that you have to have different customers, or is a different process involved?
Okay. The ride-hailing core architecture of booking going to be the same, more or less.
Right,
Like
yeah.
there is a demand and there is a supply that is going to fulfill that. Now, as the tagline says, it is book and earn, drive and earn. Now, you can't earn while booking in Grab. You only pay for that, right?
Yeah.
or any competitors for that matter. So in our case, since we are doing with B2B, we are offering the ability for the booker, who happens to be mostly from business,
Yeah.
to also book and earn. It means like, say, for example, a hotel industry where the concierge or the receptionist are trying to book a different class of vehicle which is not offered by the hotel. Now, they do have some contracts and other stuff, so there is an opportunity for the hotel industry to upsell certain products and also earn straight away from the pricing that they sell to their clients. That is the cash back. So we are saying while you're booking, you can also earn. That's what the book and earn is all about. So I just gave one example as a hotel industry. It can be, I can talk more examples. So in our app, we have that ability for the booker to specify how much he wants to earn as a cashback. There are some limits that we have set to be equitable to the drivers and the market. So that allows them to specify the cashback and they can earn.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's a key differentiating point there, the fact that the booker can earn as well as the driver, right? Okay.
Correct.
All right, we're going to jump into your pitch deck, Dhana, and not going to do every single slide. We're just going to bounce about a little bit, but maybe we can start by looking at what the problem is. I mean, there's a lot of points here. Pull out the key point here then. You know, what is the main problem that we're solving here with ULA?
Okay. I will say the first, I will say you said only one, but I can say the one associated with another. All of this are done offline. When I say offline, they use semi-digital contacts, like say, let it be a WhatsApp or a phone call. These are also technologies. We still consider them as technologies, but the problem is it's not an end-to-end context. So when you first is you need to find who's available. Then you need to figure out, are they ready to do this work at a price? And the third thing is, how am I going to pay for it? So how is the money flowing from the demand to supply? So all these three contexts is one of the biggest pain points, even though it's all happening on the complete trust basis. But that is a space where we want to organize. Currently it is an unorganized sector kind of a business which we want to get in and organize it, facilitating the booker to get all curated vehicles and the drivers who have fulfilled the regulatory requirements set by the local transport authority. And very importantly, get a driver who is available. And no need to check with A, B, C, and then decide. So you're losing time fulfilling your customer service deliverables to your guest or the traveler. So that is, I will say, I will take the first point, current B2B bookings via WhatsApp, phone calls, emails, resulting in outsourcing over outsourcing. I think that creates a lot of cascading impacts on the payment settlements, on the quality.
This is how it's done now, right?
Correct, correct. So that is a problem statement we are solving, and also offering that cashback facility so that outsourcing over outsourcing. So it means like I get a business, but I'm driving something. But I got a business, I don't let go of that. So what the guy does is opens up a WhatsApp and puts it in the WhatsApp group saying that it's as if it's order, saying that I got a job for X dollars.
Who wants it? Yeah, right.
So even though, and the guy who's throwing to him, trusting that he's going to do the job, but at the end of the day, someone else is going to do the job. So the transparency is also a bit
Is that how it works now? I mean, is that sort of driver to driver in that sense? You know,
correct.
Yeah, so drivers are passing it around between each other?
Yeah. That happens a lot in this industry. So that's what we are trying to solve.
Right, that's quite an imperfect market, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah. It's really an imperfect market, unorganized. So the booker can be anyone who thinks that X person is going to do. But the one good thing about this unorganized sector is more of trust-based. So the guy who picks up ensures that it really happens. That's why when we went into the market, you won't believe after Christmas, we started spreading the word. Within 2 weeks, we already had about 600 plus drivers coming on board. Their only pain point, they said, will I get my money immediately?
Right. Is that the issue right now?
Yeah.
With them?
Yeah. Will I get my money immediately? So I said, why you are saying that? Today, we do the job with the trust that the booker or the person who's throwing the job in the WhatsApp or giving a phone call will pay me. I'm hoping that, or I'm trusting that. So now we are solving that. Whenever you do a job, you complete it until the guy doesn't have money in his wallet. Or if it's a cash job, say he collects cash from the traveler, it's all settled well in there so that they are happy about it. That's why the word spread from 600, it become 850, 800 plus in a matter of another couple of weeks.
So who are these drivers? Are they, 850 you talk about, they're not people who just have a bus sitting around, are they? Do they own the buses? What's their profile? I'm just curious about what their profile of the users are.
The users are predominantly sole proprietors or what you call self. They are also entrepreneurs in their own way, but they are more on the traditional side. So they own either a Combi or a MPV. The high-end, the executives, like say, I can give a couple of names, like say the Alphas, the Velfas, those kind of Vianos and those kind of stuff. They may have only one vehicle, which is their bread and butter. And they do it a day of 10 to 15 trips. But they do all mostly those B2B jobs. So they are mostly sole proprietors and entrepreneurs who are running their own show. So they are the bulk of the signups.
Yeah.
And they are the ones we need also because our plans are pretty big because we are also engaging with the online travel agents, the OTAs. The traditional travel agents who run a kind of a small shop, but they do have their own clienteles. So now we are aiming, those are our target markets or the demand side of the target markets, like ability to give the OTAs an API to book directly these services for which they get an instant confirmation of the drivers, the vehicle details, the phone numbers. Now those are the things which are not there in the current space. So everything happens by email or WhatsApp, and the thing takes time to come back. It's a very traditional flow. So now we are talking about instantaneous confirmations. So those are the things which we are solving with these, the single vehicle owners or the 2 or 3 vehicle owners. There are also transport companies. They are the ones who bring the coaches, as we said.
Yeah.
So now,
but they've got a lot of latency, I suppose, in their stock as well, haven't they?
Correct. One is they have the latency. Second is also they have unpredictability, right? Yeah. So they will be very busy during those peak seasons, right? And the slack comes in when it is a non-peak season. So then they hunt for jobs to keep their equipments up and running and to pay for their drivers. So there are some seasonal factors, because you still need vehicles to fulfill the seasonal factors, especially China, Indonesia, and India. As per the STB report, the Singapore Tourism Board report, these are the 3 markets which bring the top tourism revenue for Singapore. Similarly, for Thailand, there are a couple of markets, like say the India, the Indonesia, and few and others, or China for that matter. So you need to have vehicles to fulfill the demand and make sure the destination is having sufficient vehicles. But after the season, what happens? Now, that is a place where we want to reach out to the corporates. We want to reach out to the online travel agents. We want to reach out to many other demand side customers who can use our app and the API, which will allow them to directly connect with these freelancers or sole proprietors. So in a way, it's a you can call it as a vested interest, but there is a social angle to it, because end of the day, these sole proprietors or the single vehicle owners, their bread and butter is depending on that one vehicle.
Yeah.
So the more the order is merrier, but end of the day, in a day, they can do only 10 to 12 trips or 15 trips because there is a time constraint. So there is only 24 hours. Out of that, they work for about 10 to 15 hours or 14 hours. So they if they do 10 to 12 or 15 trips, they are pretty happy with it. But they are very busy in certain seasons and
drops off
in certain seasons.
Yeah, and the sort of the curious economics of that kind of market where you have these large assets which become latent over time. So, for example, if you owned an MPV or a small coach, for example, a combi, you might not be. You might have days when you don't have bookings, for example, if you're off season. And, I think it's like with the last mile delivery as well, is that, there are guys who will charge the same for one delivery than they'll earn in the whole day because they're sitting around waiting for that delivery. But if you can give them more work, they can bring the price of everything down.
You're right.
Because for them, they're working the same hours, whether they're sitting waiting at the cafe or they're driving, it's all the same.
Correct.
So, you either pay for that one delivery, but if you can give them, keep them busy. Yeah. And that latency is dealt with and everybody wins because the prices drop, right?
Yeah. I think that's the utility model that we want to bring into the space so that one is the price factor is kept at a certain range because of this unknown or the unpredictability. So when we know how many, with this we know this many numbers have signed up, then we know how to equate that. And the more the order comes, then we have more clarity because let's say that one is a traveler coming into Singapore. The travelers can be for leisure, can be for business. So the numbers are very, very exciting for us because when we see the numbers of Changi Airport or when we see the numbers of Singapore Tourism Board, they are very, very exciting. So it means like people have to travel from place A to place B. Now, there are multi-mode transports. There is starting from the MRTs to the bus, but most of the travelers, they explore MRTs or the public transports, but many are constrained by time. So they come here for a purpose, either for business or for 3 days leisure, and they want to make the maximum out of that. So how they make the maximum out of it? Yes, we have our competitors who are giving us a tough time, but that is on the sedans and the SUVs. But come on the different space which is meant for travel and hospitality and for the business travelers, there we are more focusing on the bigger size vehicles. Now, they have very specific requirements. So some of them, today we were discussing with one of the potential orders, they wanted a very specific vehicle type. And with
like what, for example?
Okay, like say for Mercedes Sprinter,
right.
23-seater. They said very specifically, we need this from this date to this date. For airport to the hotel, we need a coach of a 45-seater. And they also need one more standby Mercedes 5, one Alphard and one Mercedes 5. Now, these are the very specific requirements, and in the market, we need to really hunt for it. So luckily we have this 800-odd database. Now we can sniff through it and we can figure out that how many Sprinters are there, how many Alphards are there. And the guy who picked up this order or the guy who gave us this order, he said, your turnaround time was amazingly superb. And this is the first business we are getting from them, and we were very excited.
Yeah, great.
And this comes from Middle East. So that's the beauty of the data and the ability to give, and the app and the APIs and all those stuff. Yeah.
How do you ensure reliability in the system? Because I imagine that, unlike, for example, if a driver doesn't turn up for me on Grab, I go to Gojek. It's fine, or I cancel and get another driver.
Correct.
But if you've got 45 people waiting at an airport, you've got 45 angry people there. So reliability for you, the premium's a lot higher. How do you sort of build that into the system? Because maybe somebody gets another job, or how do you sort of work with that?
You're bang on. So what happens is, like, we do have our risk management part when it comes to the technology. So say, for example, an advanced job gets cancelled, or if it's a no-show happens. So we have some mechanism put in place. So before a start of the job, an hour before, or I don't know the exact timing, I think it's about an hour plus, the driver is expected to start the job. So if the job is not started, automatically the system cancels that order and recasts the job to other active drivers as a now job. And we also have the third layer of security If that doesn't happen for the advanced job, then we have our suppliers signed up with the contracts. We push it to them. So we have a separate, it's not, ULA is for a real-time booking. Then we have the transporters module that we have done, which is an offshoot of ULA, which is called as a job order system. That is more on handling the risk management. So we have put in place for risk. And very important is, the drivers in this space, the B2B space, also have to bear the penalties when they don't fulfill certain orders. That's we are very clean. That's the market as of today.
How?
Okay.
Is it like a rating that would be suffered?
No,
financial?
No. Our penalties are more towards the job amount itself. Like, say, for example, if you commit to pick up a job, because this is about quality, this is about service delivery. So a driver, or say for example a coach, a driver who accepts a job, if it is an individual or a transport company, we have a wallet mechanism. So we block or reserve the money that is a part of the money as their order confirmation. So if there is a no-show, or if there is a cancellation after acceptance where we can't find a driver, so we penalize the drivers for a certain amount, so that this doesn't become a norm. Because there are two parts to it. Because we are also very clear that as of now it's a bootstrap, so it's very critical to safeguard the resources, the money. The next step is when the investors come on board, we also want to clearly say how we are operating to make sure that we don't burn a lot of money, the investors' money, by giving. And the market norm is very clear. The market norm today is, for a B2B job, if it's a no-show, the driver or the transport company have to pay the full amount.
Yeah.
And some companies do charge more. It's a 2 times or 3 times the fee. That penalty ensures that there is no default.
Yeah, absolutely. Because your brand is at risk.
Is at stake.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where you are in the journey so far. You mentioned that you bootstrapped it up to now. I'll have a look at, you've got there's a slide here. I'm going to jump back and forth a little bit.
No
on slide, like, where are you now? When did you set up the company? When did you, how do you, I guess you're live, you have the product out there that people can actually purchase, that, you have a history of customers already. So tell us a little bit about the journey there. So launch date was when?
The company, the Houla Technologies, was launched in 2016 October, but I was not able to start immediately on that. And in October 2017, I came into it full time, 100%. So I left my job, and the calling was great. So then I started in October 2017. So that was another story. The job was also like the job was made redundant in my the employer. So I need to start fresh.
Yeah.
So I had two options: either I go and search for a job, or I do. I had a passion and dream of doing something on my own. And being a technologist, I said this is the right time to get into it. And I started from October 2017 straight away, and I said, let's get going with it. From there on, we started building travel tech products for the B2B space. and this space is what really gave us the interest that if Grab, Uber, Gojek, Ola, so there is a lot of them, right? So they all really, there is a lot of struggle, I don't deny that, but there is a white space there which we see very clearly as part of the problem statement. We said we need to start. So October 2017 was a start, and it's 1.5 years. So we have done a lot of, this is the customer facing app, but we do have a lot of back-end systems to support our B2B network.
Yeah. So 1.5 years in, great. There's another slide that follows this. We can just jump back in, which is, you've mentioned some of this already. You bootstrapped it.
Yep. It's October 2017.
Yeah. So, I mean, you sort of bootstrapped the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I want to jump as well and talk about the team that you sort of built along the way.
Yeah.
If we just sort of jump back a little bit here. So so go back to 2017. October, you started it yourself as the sole founder,
Correct.
and then you went about recruiting your team. Tell us a little bit about your core team and where they came from and what they do.
Okay.
Not every single one of them. You can talk generally.
In generally, yes. So what happens is, as usual, we took the MPV route, the minimum viable product route. I started on my own first, framing what I really want, and then looked out for an outsourcer because I don't want to get in-house resources straight away. So we gave it as a project to a company in India, and we started building the products. And that is how we started. I think that was the right thing to do. And then slowly we got in teams along, and Manish came on board as a partner, like a sweat equity partner.
Yeah.
And so he's more on sales and marketing. So he also comes from a travel and hospitality industry. So that helped me a bit because we both talk the same lingo, but he has that risk-taking, attitude of coming in, and I think it's only he took a 2/3 cut of his salary and agreed for a sweat equity. Similarly, the other people are mostly the technologists. So for them, we pay them, but they are all in India. The technologists and the testers, they are all in India, and we are building the whole product from India.
Right, in Chennai, probably?
In Chennai, yeah, exactly. So in and around Chennai. So
no, there's some great
it's getting
talent.
bigger. So
there's a lot of talent there at the moment. So
Indeed.
You've kept it lean. There's the two of are you two based here in Singapore?
Exactly. And one more person I shouldn't miss out. So we're part-time product manager because we wanted one product manager to do the UI, UX and all those things. So we got one part-time product manager. So he's from INSEAD. So it really worked well as a part-timer and as a product or a project-based. So he initially did all the product management part, and then he moved on. So we kept it pretty lean, because we want a long runway. Because after reading a lot of bad stories about why a startup fails, so we want to be as lean as possible, and make sure that we get the product right, and also get the sales right, and get into the market. So
talking about that, what do you have to do now? Because there is obviously scale. You have to go out there and get, your 850 drivers, for example. You have to now increase that, as well as you have to bring in the clients who are the hospitality area, OTAs, whoever it may be. You have to go out and get those relationships. What is it now? Is it just an execution of your plan, of your product now, or do you need to add in extra layers of the features that don't exist yet that need to be added for really this to become as big as you intend it?
I think as a product, always there is no end to it, right? So we can keep on adding a lot of features. As part of the first phase of launch that we are doing on Monday 18th, we have all the nuts and bolts for us to go live, and that is predominantly catering to the local market, the travel and the hospitality market. Now, we are ready for that. So we were surprised again, because when we reached out to the DM, we call it as a destination management companies or the travel agents in Singapore, and the tour guides who are registered with Singapore Tourism Board. We were surprised that even they are saying that, and they registered. We just sent out one email blast, and we have about 100 registered in about a week, saying that we like this, we want the ability to book at the B2B rates. That is the only difference, because the rates that are offered in, I think you also mentioned about our competitors are Grab in this case, they have coach and, they have coach and everything, but that is for the B2C market. That price is completely different with the B2B markets. So the people whom we are bringing in as users, they really know what is the price in the market. The only thing is about the find. Is it difficult because they have about 10 people whom they work with, they are comfortable with, but they also have certain constraints there. So they like this platform that we are offering. When we said this is a B2B ride booking app using combis, MPVs, coach, and limousines, wow, now I have options. And the rates are, again, attractive. It's economy of scale. And plus, so people get paid and receive the money immediately. So they say it's good, and book and earn. Now that becomes more interesting.
Yeah.
So now they say, oh, I can also earn. Okay, so what do you mean by that? It means the booker also get the money immediately. So that risk of not getting the money back after you sell, say it's a cash job, you book something, if it's a tour guide. Okay, pick up my guest from a hotel, drop him in the airport. He will give you $80. Now you give me $10, say for example. There is no guarantee that this $10 will come back. Yes, the intention may be right, but the driver may be busy doing a lot of work, and he may give you after 1 week.
Yeah.
Right. So if you remember, still yes, you get back your $10, but otherwise not. Now these are the things which we are addressing by way of automating or putting our app.
Yeah.
So, but again, there are challenges. You can get more drivers because they are hungry for business. But the challenges that we will be facing more is on bringing sizable user community, because again, it's a B2B, right? But the good thing is these 100 people are users of that particular service. We may not get 1 million users, but the users who are coming on board, they have a right intent because they want this service to be used. So that way, we are pretty okay from a B2B space. We are not looking for a 1 million user subscribers. If it comes, I'm not going to say no to that, but we have a very specific target group that we are chasing behind, and that is our phase 1. Now, the phase 2 of the product is going to be the APIs for the OTAs. Now, there we are already testing that. So it means like when that happens, the scale is going to be humongous. Now, that becomes B2C2B.
Yeah.
So when OTA is selling something to an end customer via their portal, now that purchase is directly linked to our ULA with an instant confirmation. Now that is the game changer that we are looking into.
Yeah.
And that is where we are almost done. So hopefully by next month, that is a very immediate release. So we are talking to a couple of OTAs in Middle East as well as in India, where we want to get this going so that their orders, even some transport companies, the chauffeur companies, some of the global chauffeur companies who are currently doing everything manual, by emails, by Excel, by WhatsApp. Now for them, it's going to be a readily available inventory that they can book using our API and get instant confirmation. And that way they are going to delight their customers, because end of the day, if you know that a particular vehicle type picture, and then the driver's photo, the mobile number of the driver, if everything is made visible to you immediately, that is a kind of guarantee and trust that you're building with your customer, which is going to go a long way in sustaining the brand for these OTAs and for the global chauffeur companies.
Okay, so phase 1, phase 2, we've talked about. Let's talk about the ask, which is going to take you hopefully from 1 to 2. So you've bootstrapped it until now.
Yeah.
The slide here in the deck is the ask, which is what you're looking for at the moment. So
Correct.
You would say this is at seed stage. This is your first money in, apart from your own and friends and family, I guess. So tell us a little bit about what you're asking for.
Yeah, see, what we are looking for is we want to go step by step. So we are looking about either a pre-seed or a seed, or even angels for that matter.
Yeah.
And this space is pretty proven model. The ride-hailing model is very proven. The transportation, the location-based point-to-point transfers or transportation is a very proven model. Everyone knows how this business works, and there is more expansions, or what you call the market is pretty big. So start with this, but where it will take us, we don't know. But the same like how Grab or other people started. So a location-based point-to-point transportation, that is what our market is, and very specifically we are looking into a bigger size vehicles. Our ask is, so we are looking into a funding of $1 million.
Sing dollars.
Yep. And the reason I can tell you why we are asking for this, because sometimes when it is angel and pre-seed and a seed, this may look like a big money, 1 million Sing dollars. But we kept the ticket size very affordable. So we kept the ticket size as 10,000 Sing dollars per entry. And the reason why we are asking is for us to be able to scale for within Singapore and also beyond Singapore, which is the Southeast Asian market. Because the key markets are Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, where we see there is a great opportunity to scale this business to start with. As I said, it's a global market, end of the day. But we want to first move in Southeast Asia and see where this can take. And that's why we said we better ask for the right amount so that for next 2 years, we have that runway to really make it fast.
Yeah. Yeah, ask for the right amount for your company, not for the next raise. I think that's the key, isn't it? And that makes complete sense for what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
So, well, Dhana, I think it's been an interesting look into behind the scenes at ULA and what you're building there, and really hope that goes well for you. Now,
thank you.
You say you have a launch coming up, and bear in mind, this is happening in March. People may be listening to this 6 months down the line. So you have a launch coming up on Monday, just around the corner. So I don't expect you're going to have much sleep over the weekend getting everything ready. So best of luck with that.
Thank you.
You're coming to our event on the 20th as well?
Yeah, I'll be there for sure.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to introducing you to the other founders as well as the angel investors as well. It's going to be a busy few days for you then, I expect.
Indeed.
In the studio on Friday, launch on Monday, angel investors on Wednesday. Those are the kind of weeks you want every week, right? Can't guarantee it, but that's going to go hopefully all according to plan. And best of luck with the launch and all of the others of the above as well, and the ongoing journey as well in building that. Let's see where that goes, and anything that we can do to help you as well. What would be the best way for people to reach out to you? LinkedIn, email. What's your preferred channel?
Yeah, I think I'm fully connected, digitally connected on LinkedIn. LinkedIn will be great.
Okay. So details in the show notes. Easy. People reach out. If somebody watches this, somebody listens to this, reach out and said, I listened to your podcast, I watched your video, I liked what you're doing. It could be an investor, it could be a potential hire, potential partner, even a driver or an OTA, for example. You just don't know. So people watch this stuff. Okay. And thanks for coming in today and sharing your journey.
Thanks a lot, Graham. Really appreciate what you are doing. So really helps startups like us to bring forward what we are doing. So wishing you good luck and also waiting for the show on the 20th. So wishing you all luck to make this a success for all of us.
Excellent. Go ULA.
ULA.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.